Hey, good morning. Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope, as well as our other streaming outlets. And as usual, we're going to try to do this preview of the pro football, where they play for pay. And I see Dwayne is fixing his brim. I know Dwayne is real happy this morning. Not because he wakes up happy every morning. Gives us these beautiful quotes on the social media networks. Always is real thankful. But one of the things about Dwayne is I see in his one of his chats on Facebook, our brother Roy questioned his fanhood about Dak Prescott. This guy loves Dak Rain Dakota Prescott. He loved him before he was a Cowboy, and he loves him even more just as a leader, as the type of kid he's been. Don't say nothing, Dwayne. I have this, sir. He just the way he carries himself. Um, Dwayne likes how this young man just always has handled himself on and off the field. Definitely since he had his little drunk incident or
Right.
whatever. Dwayne likes to see the growth in the young man, and to see that man, him and his buddy Zeke playing, Zeke acting like he limping, and then Dak showing off, walking straight. Uh, I know that changed Dwayne's week, so to say. Even though he's still Team Tank,
Team Tank
um,
away.
and Team Trade Down. That's technically what it is. It's really not Team Tank. It's really Team Trade Down. Get all you can get. But
It's
I
team.
know Dwayne's. What is it, Dwayne?
It's team check down.
Team Check Down. Yeah.
Yeah. Team Tank.
Yeah.
Team check down. Team Skip Bayless is a liar. But you know,
Oh, yeah. We're
happy
definitely going to talk about
holidays,
that one day.
everybody. Happy holidays, and as my esteemed host always says, in the league where they play for pay. Uh, Very interesting Sunday schedule because with everything with COVID, you got two Monday night football games and you got a Tuesday football game. So not your normal busy Sunday schedule. It's kind of weird, with everything that's going on. You got what 3 4 o'clock games today? As I look through the schedule, no, 4 4 o'clock games today. 4:25, 4:25, and two 4:05s. So, but hey, man, this is the rubber's starting to meet the road. It's funny, Facebook. It's a funny application sometimes, man. And something came up on my Facebook memory from 5 years ago, five, and it fits today. So I'm gonna post that after our show. It's about the division that I love, the NFC East, and it's amazing that 5 years ago, the NFC East was kind of in the state it is in today. And I'm gonna put that post out there, and I think people will enjoy it. But hey, if you're watching us, share, like, subscribe. We appreciate you just for making us a part of your Sunday morning, and we're gonna get right into it. The first 1 o'clock in the beautiful Garden State, the Raiders back on the
Mm.
East Coast. I think they stayed on the East Coast. I don't know if they went all the way to the West Coast and came back. They could. If they did that, it's going to be another shaky performance by the Raiders, but not shaky enough to lose to the hapless Adam Gates Jets.
Just I have nothing to say about the Jets. I mean, they've been Team Tank for 2 years. It's
I
just a
would.
sad organization, and it's right now that and a lot of our audience don't know or were younger in their lives like me and you were at the time. That don't be shocked if Godell gets involved with the Jets, because we have to understand that the New York market before revenue sharing, the New York market pulls the most money. And right now, what's going on with the Jets and their Giants, I would not be surprised if Roger Goodell has to step in and say something, because, folks, the Jets are killing the NFL with not being good.
Yeah.
You have to have have to have good teams in these big markets because of the revenue sharing. Teams like Jacksonville, they don't even matter when they're good. I hate to say it, but
Well,
we got to understand that this thing is all about money, baby. these are 32, 31 businessmen in business together.
Mm.
So if you ain't pulling your weight, the commissioner will come in and step in.
I think part of the big problem for the Jets has been Chris Johnson, who's had to take over reins of the team while his brother Woody has worked in the Trump administration. And Chris Johnson just don't know what he's doing. I think the good thing for the Jets is that Woody's going to come back now. He's no longer going to be the ambassador of, I think, Ireland. He was the ambassador of, or something like that. So he'll be back, and hopefully the Jets will get on the right track. They got some very interesting decisions to make, man. Everybody thinks it's a fait accompli that they're gonna go with Trevor Lawrence, but if they do, that means they have to move Sam Darnold. So it's gonna be an interesting offseason for the Jets, but it ain't gonna be interesting in MetLife today.
And they may agree. They may agree with me and you. They may say, you know what, the first pick is up for business. And if they open for business with him with the first pick, they may get two drafts, literally a team's two drafts. He's that good and that much separation from everybody else that they may get at least a draft and a half. And when I mean a draft and a half, folks, I don't know if you guys realize how much these players get, these top prospects get when you start trading. The Jets legitimately probably could get at least 9 or 10 picks for Sam Brett for the rights for Trevor Lawrence. It sounds crazy, but it's the reality. It's the price of doing business right now.
It is. So yeah, I'm sure you agree with me. Las Vegas big today.
Absolutely.
Okay. Next up in the 1 o'clock, a very, very interesting game. Very interesting game. And I know I say this every week with these two teams. You got the 8-3 Browns versus the 8-3 Titans.
The Titans just had a bad loss.
Yeah, man.
They just lost Clowney for the season. They had a bad loss, and I believe this game comes down to one person, Dwayne. Baker Mayfield.
Let me ask you a question though. Is Clowney really a loss? Because I saw something online today that said this season he only has 12 tackles on the season.
Yeah, it's some
2 sacks, and he has like 8 quarterback pressures. So it's not like he was balling, man. So I don't know if that's a big loss, Clowney.
Yeah, the Titans, you know, they're one of the teams that I kind of look at sometimes because of the way they play. They picked up Clowney and Vic Beasley, and neither one of them is on their roster right now. They cut Vic Beasley a couple of weeks ago. It's kind of when you come to a team that's on the rise, if you don't fit the culture and you're not playing well within the scheme, they really don't need you. And I think it might be addition by subtraction.
It might be because he secretly and quietly went and had that surgery.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's just a weird thing, man. And he wasn't very productive for them. You don't want to question anybody, right? Because he's a great football player. When his mind is into it, he's a great football player. But I do question sometimes, does he really want to play the game? And I hate to do that, but I have to. Because the way he is, man.
This game comes down to your two things. And one thing that me and you had talked about before is that we got to understand that COVID affects people differently, affects players differently. And Myles Garrett is probably just coming back. I don't even know if he's going to play today. Just coming back from COVID. So I don't know if he's going to be well. Their defense actually been okay since he's been gone. So now their big test is going to be able to stop the big boy. But I believe this game is the game for all the Baker Mayfield fans, all the Baker Mayfield doubters. This is probably the biggest game of his short, young career. He's got to be able to put the team on his back and be like, look, we got 2 great running backs, but now it's time for me to make those throws. And you see it in spurts, a half here, a quarter here, a couple series here. But we've never seen Baker Mayfield have a whole game where he's just lights out, managing the game, getting them out the huddle, doing his checkdowns right. They have games where basically they play like their opponent.
Yeah.
But I got to take the Titans just because of the way they play. that style, that punch you in the mouth style, just it's hard to take them. Definitely once this weather start changing.
It's going to be very interesting for me. I'm very excited about the fact that you're going to see Derrick Henry go up against the combination of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. So I'm really looking forward to seeing who can establish the running game. You know that's what Tennessee wants to do. Um, the Browns are better when they run their offense through those two running backs and not Baker Mayfield. It's going to be very interesting, man. Like I said, 2 8-3 teams, and this is the one I'm looking forward to. It's not in the New York market, but you know how we go about seeing these games. No,
Yeah,
no free publicity for nobody, but
yeah.
we'll get it done. Uh, next game, you have the 1-10 Jaguars at the 5-6 Vikings, and give Jacksonville credit, man. They played hard last week. They played Cleveland hard, man. They came back after being down, and they were a 2-point conversion away from tying that game late and sending it into overtime. Uh, after starting 1-5, the Vikings are 4-5. That one loss, we all know who they lost to. Um, so, I like the Vikings. I like them to get to 500. I like them to get to 6-6.
But one of the things that me and you, we love the coach. We love the coach of the Vikings. We love the way he coaches. Definitely got to pick the Vikings. I do respect Jacksonville. And Jacksonville shows you that people may think that these players don't care, but at the end of the day, these players is fighting for their job to put good tape out there, if not for the next coach, for another team. But I take the Vikings. I think the Vikings, and I'm not trying to look too ahead of myself. Don't be surprised next year how good the Vikings be. They took a chance on some young players. Donnell Hunter, when he was hurt in the beginning of the year, and then with the COVID thing. So don't be surprised next year if the Vikings is right back in the thick of things in that NFC because the coaching is there. They got a lot of young kids they drafted in that secondary, and they're gonna be tough. Definitely, they can re-sign the other safety. What's the other safety you always get on? You always tell me about, Dwayne. That's with Harrison.
Oh God. And I'm forgetting his name now, and he's the most underrated safety. Anthony something. I can't remember.
Yeah, yeah. But they got
But
two young corners, y'all. They drafted, so they're gonna be very interesting. And Zimmer, that's our guy, man. Since '91, since excuse me, since '89, Zimmer been our guy. From the professional leagues. I've been watching Zimmer since as long as I can remember football, which is crazy.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, man. So we the Vikings. They got a coach that I like. They also have Dan Bailey, the real MVP, man. Like, he's the real MVP. He's always been when he was with Dallas and all that. I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure because I like to be on top of it. My boy hit me real quick. It's Anthony Harris. It's the other safety on the top, on the other side there.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, man. Hopefully the Vikings do what they got to do. Kirk Cousins is just an enigma to me. He
I
can look
think I think this the third year, this the fourth year. His deal is up, right?
deal is up, man. So
See,
it's
and
gonna
that's another interesting team that when you look at it, and me and Dwayne, we got some great things planned. The weeks after the Super Bowl, as far as our pre-draft stuff, we really, really want to take our pre-draft stuff to the next level. And we look forward to what we're going to do. So that's another the team that a lot of people aren't saying that may be in that mix to try to trade up and get one of them three quarterbacks. And it's going to be interesting. It's
yeah.
going to be interesting.
When we were kids, it was a movie, man. It was a movie when we were kids. It was E.T. And one of the famous things that E.T. said was phone home, right? So what I want Mike Zimmer to do, phone home, man. Phone home the team tank. You want to come up and get Zach Wilson to replace Kirk Cousins? We here for you, Zim. We want your draft. We want your draft. Okay? That's what we want. So the next 1 o'clock game is the team that we adopted. The Miami Dolphins at 7-4, taking on the Cincinnati Bengals at 2-8-1. Um, Don't know what Miami's going to do at quarterback this week. Don't know if Flores is going to go back to Tua or if he's going to stick with Fitzpatrick. When he made the change from Tua back to Fitzpatrick, I didn't have a problem with it because Tua was really struggling, as rookies are known to do. And the Dolphins has a chance to make the playoffs. So Flores is playing these games to win. I would not be totally shocked if you see both quarterbacks today for Miami. And I know that may sound crazy, but you're seeing it across the league too. Like some teams bring quarterbacks in for special packages. Tyson Hill, that man threw for over 100 yards last week. But even when Drew Brees is healthy, they be having packages for him. So I think you may see Tua, and I think you may see Fitzmagic. But I know that you will see a Dolphins victory today.
Yeah, definitely see the Dolphins winning. One of the things that I did notice is a lot of these coaches, definitely these younger coaches, they don't have the they try to coach up these young quarterbacks because they're used to 7-on-7 stuff like that. So if you can't make that first and second read, a lot of these coaches just like they don't have time for you. Flores, like we said, he's trying to make the playoffs. But I just want people to be mindful one thing about him. He's still evaluating his team and the direction of his team because this draft is a big draft like last year's draft was for them. And Miami might be set for the next 7-8 years depending on the Tua situation. And they're another team that could play around and jump up in there and go get another quarterback. I mean, I don't think that Miami he comes from that school of assets, and they have Houston's pick. And I think right now it's number 10. And they got certain things in play where Miami really doesn't need a whole bunch to be competitive. I do think that they might be very interesting. Some players might fall to them, so it's going to be interesting going forward, but definitely picking Miami to win the day and try to keep pace with Buffalo, who has a big game today too, I think.
Right. So we got 3 1:00 games left, right? But I want everybody to bear with me. I'm gonna go against the schedule, okay? Because I got 2 upset specials that I want to give.
2 this week?
2 upset specials that I want to give back to back in the 1:00 hour. Okay? So we'll jump around the schedule a little bit and we'll discuss 1:00 Lions and the Bears. That's that classic NFC North rivalry game, cold weather, Soldiers Field. You're going to miss the crowd, of course. And I'm very intrigued to see how the Detroit Lions come out and play since they got rid of Matt Patricia after Thanksgiving Day. So I'm interested to see how Bevel has this team ready to play. The Bears, what do you say about the Chicago Bears other than stay away from Rain Dakota Prescott?
I just, and I always say this. I always say this to our resident, our co-host who hasn't been with us a couple weeks, Patrick Seals. I always say this to him, and I mean it. The Chicago Bears are in a situation where they will pay so much money for a free agent quarterback that he's going to be overpaid, whoever they go after, and a lot of people are going to have doubts. But if you look at their organization and what they need to do right now to try to win, that they basically have to swing at a 3-0 pitch, as we say in baseball. They have to shoot for the moon. No matter what quarterback they go at. Just stay away from 4.
Stay away from
because 4 is not going to just chase the dollar. He's going to resign as soon as possible. But the one thing about Bevel is highly respected in the coaching ranks. As an assistant, people have been talking about this guy for years. I think he'll get them to play hard. They might be able to win. But it's something that we talked about during the week is that one of the things that's amazing about fans is that fans pay for the team. Fans pay the salary. The fans in Detroit have spoken. They miss Jim Caldwell. Not that Jim Caldwell won a championship there or won a playoff game because Detroit, if you know their history, haven't won a playoff game. They have the longest drought in the NFL. However, the fans respected Jim Caldwell because he gave the organization direction. So it's amazing that the Ford family, no relation, wish I was, but it's amazing that the Ford family, um, they didn't listen to their fans, and they may have to be forced to hire this man back
Yeah.
because you got to listen to your fan base because he gave them some type of direction.
I will tell
So
you that in his first role as a head coach this week, Bevel failed miserably. Okay, it's not football related, but it's something funny, and I want to mention it. He was in his weekly press conference, trying to get to know the media, and he has two daughters, two adult daughters. Well, during the Thanksgiving holiday, both of their boyfriends pulled him aside and separately, actually, and asked him for his permission to marry their daughter. Okay. Now, these guys have not done that yet. But he went on a press conference, a weekly press conference, which probably his daughters or family was watching. And he said, yeah, I got two guys that are probably going to be my son-in-laws because they both asked me for my daughter's hands in marriage, and I gave it to them. So I'm sure they'll be popping the question soon. Come on, Coach. It's a major fail, man. Your first bad coaching decision, man. You can't give out the secrets, man.
let's just hope that the daughters were going to accept the proposals, right?
Exactly. Now you got these guys. First of all, they probably didn't know each other. Well, maybe they did, depending on if they're friendly. Now they got to compete against each other to see who proposes to which sister the best.
Might as well have a double wedding, man. So Coach had already put them two together, right?
Yeah, coach. Bad job, coach. And your first opportunity. You're right, Julia. Dumb ass. I think the pressure was too hard. I think the pressure was too hot for him. You
Yeah,
can't spill the beans.
he got in there and felt too comfortable too quick, right?
Come on, man. You spilled the beans, man. It was bad. But I thought that was just a little fun fact.
So
All right,
was one of those games part of your upset special, or are you saving your two upset specials?
here are my two upset specials. Both in the 1:00 hour, both in the 1:00 window. I'll give you what I feel is the mild upset first, and then I'm going to give you that major upset. I'm telling you, if you got a ticket, tell them D-Mo told you. If you got a bookie, tell them D-Mo told you, all right? But we're going to go with my first upset of the day. I like I like the Houston Texans at home against the Indianapolis Colts today. I like the Texans to pull an upset.
Oh,
Listen, they're 4-3 under Romeo Crennel. They were 0-4 under Bill O'Brien. They've been playing spirited football since Romeo Crennel has taken over. Philip Rivers, something's off with him to me. Something's off with Philip Rivers. I know the Colts come in at 7-4 and the Titans come in at 4-7. Take the Titans outright. I don't even want the points. I like Tennessee. I like Houston. I keep calling them Tennessee. I like Houston Texans big today over the Colts. Double digits.
well,
10-point victory.
one of the things that I've seen some funny stuff about Houston this week. Remember they was talking about Fuller and another guy. You know who their you know who their strength and conditioning coach is? The assistant?
Brian Cushing.
That was crazy.
New Jersey's on.
That was crazy. Allegedly he gave us some antler spray. But
the Bergen Catholic alumni.
But when I seen it, I started cracking up.
New Jersey Player of the Year at one point. USC. He's the strength and conditioning coach. There's always been rumors, allegations against him.
Way back since high school, yeah.
Going all the way back to high school. But who you like in this game, Q?
It's hard it's hard for me to go against the coach. Defensive coordinator of the Colts is another one of me and Dwayne's coaches that we like and respect. They got Buckner coming back. So I know that even though Houston don't even try to attempt to run, that's what Buckner's back for. Division rival, man, and you gotta kind of like when division rivals. What's the spread on the game, Dwayne?
You know what? I didn't see the spread. I didn't. But
Well, you usually get 3 points for being at home. So one thing about division rivals is they're hard to pick, and you kind of got to go with the hot team. So I'll go with you on that, Dwayne. I'll take the Texans on that. I'll take the Texans. I mean, I think they did.
Let's see. The Texans are getting 3. So it's not that big of an upset.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It wouldn't be a big upset.
The way the Colts played last week, I don't think they're going to be able to recover as quickly to go back on the road and travel and play another division rival and be able to win. So I'll go with you with that with Houston.
Okay, so my upset special, run to your bookie. Get your ticket in, FanDuel, what's that, DraftKings, whatever you use. Atlanta over New Orleans today. I like the Falcons off that performance against Las Vegas last week. Raheem Morris really has this team spirited. They're 4-7. Let's be honest, folks. They should be 5-6. That Cowboy game. My Cowboys, I should be in second right now trying to get Trevor Lawrence if I was a Cowboy fan. But we can't go back there. Anyway, I like the Falcons. I like Matty Ice. I like the way that the Falcons got after David Carr last week. You got Taysom Hill still starting at quarterback for the Saints. The spread has fallen as the week has gone along. As of right now, the Saints are only a field goal favorite. But take the points, take the Falcons. I like the Falcons outright.
I don't think outside of the Saints being 9-2. And a very under the radar 9-2. When you really sit back and look about football, they're not being talked about as the best team in the NFC because I think that a lot of people they're not passing the eye test. Same as the Steelers, and we're going to talk about the Steelers being undefeated and not passing a lot of people's eye test. But I think that that's not as big as a upset pick. I think that you've had bigger upset picks, Dwayne, because actually when you look at trends, I'm going to go out and take Atlanta too. I heard some rumblings that Atlanta players been saying, take the interim role off. So that's big when players rally behind coaches. I don't think a lot of people understand that. To be a man and to be able to inspire other men to do things, and that's all coaching is teaching. So to get them and they believe in you and they start going to the owner or making rumblings in the media that they want you to be their leader, that speaks volumes about what that team feel about Raheem Morris. And Raheem has done a hell of a job. He would be one of the coaches that I would love to ever get on the show, hopefully.
Yeah. Irvington, New Jersey's own, man.
So salute to Atlanta, salute to Raheem Morris. Hopefully he gets that job because we definitely going to say they're going to win the day.
Absolutely. So, again, the Demo upset picks of the day. Houston Texans over the Indianapolis Colts and Atlanta Falcons over the New Orleans Saints. Book it. Lock it in. All right. 4:05. Interesting Fox game. This line also 3 points. The Cardinals are 3-point favorites over the Rams. Kind of surprised that, it's a 3-point. I would think this would be 1 point or a pick'em game. I just don't think the Cardinals are ready to ascend. I think they're way ahead of schedule. They're 6-5. I like the 7-4 Rams today. To go in there and beat the Cards too.
One of the things about this division, which is tricky, is it's called numbers. The Rams got the Cardinals and Seattle's number. The 49ers got the Rams number. The Cardinals got Seattle's number. It's a tricky division, and this division reminds me of the 80s NFC East, when you just didn't know from week to week who was going to be, week to week and month to month, who was going to get on a hot streak and who was going to beat you up.
Absolutely.
If you notice back in the 80s, the teams had them NFC teams had them defenses. Dallas didn't have much defense in the '80s, but the other three teams had defenses like that was scary, had them tough defensive lines. So I'm gonna pick the Rams because I know the trend kind of, and it's just amazing that one of Dwayne's biggest thing. Dwayne does this thing right before the beginning of the year on his page, and he always puts a picture up about 12 guys. Dwayne's favorite position, and he's argued and hung up the phone on me about is Dwayne loves cornerbacks.
Love it.
And when you look at the cornerback position, is that we've always been blessed with great cornerbacks in the NFL. So kind of like after Richard Sherman went after Darrelle Revis, and it was like kind of corny because he was going after another guy at his position. You kind of get away from cornerbacks, but there's some great corners in the league. But one of the good things is that I get to see a cornerback, and I don't really like the guy, but when it comes to playing football and what he does on that field, you get to watch Jalen Ramsey go at B-Hop, at Hopkins. And, one thing that the young defensive coordinator of the Rams is doing, he's allowing this guy to lock up a side of the field. And that's good to see from a competitive standpoint because as a cornerback, you're going to get burnt, but you got to have a real short memory. And it's going to be interesting for him to probably stick Hopkins, who probably right now is probably the best receiver in the league when you look at the total package. So I'm going to pick the Rams as well.
Sorry, y'all. I'm trying, I'm getting kissed by the sun, so the lighting's a little off. So you be trying to adjust. Hey, but I love the kisses from the sun. Bring it in. It's an elite day. It's an elite day, everybody. Elite. That's how we want to live every day.
Mm-hmm.
That's my little motivational thing. All right. So, with that said, Q, who you got in this one?
The Rams.
You going Rams? Okay.
Rams. And McVay, 7-4, Dwayne. I mean, honestly, what they did with that franchise and eating all the girlies' money, I salute McVay. He wasn't, the Wonder Kid has impressed me. He's impressed me. He's really he coaches.
I agree.
And then for them to lose our boy Whitworth, he just keep going, just moving along, man.
Yeah, listen, man. So at 4:05, it's week 13 in NFL, and if you told me week 1 that by week 13 the starting quarterbacks in the NFC East would be Carson Wentz, Colt McCoy, Alex Smith, and the Red Rifle. And if you told me those would be the 4 quarterbacks on week 13 in the NFC East, I would have told you that the Eagles already locked up the division.
Yeah, it's amazing that in that division, we follow it extensively because of where we're from and the team that we root for. It's amazing that he has been the healthiest starting quarterback in the division. And I saw on Twitter, and actually you sent me the meme, the picture, that his jersey is going for half price at some of the local sports shops in Philadelphia.
And that's not a joke. That was real. That wasn't no joke.
I know that we play a lot, and we will talk our trash, but what most people don't understand, Dwayne, is that we love the game of football.
Love it.
And it hurts us to see how much Carson Wentz has regressed. I mean, from a football standpoint, and I know that some people say confidence, I'm going to be honest with you. I've never seen nothing like this before in my life. Carson Wentz probably would have won MVP if he wouldn't have tore that ACL.
Yeah,
and for him, go ahead, Wayne.
They're doing a segment right now on NFL Network, Michael Irvin and Kurt Warner, and the banner below it is, should the Eagles bench Carson Wentz? He has the most giveaways in the league this year. I
mean, our former buddy got fired last year because they thought it was him, a.k.a. Mike Grove from Randolph, New Jersey. He was the offensive coordinator after Frank left. And I'm going to be honest with you, man. In all my years of watching football, Dwayne, I've seen quarterbacks regress from a health standpoint. You know, you've been beat up so much. Like Dan Marino, anybody that watched him, Dan Marino was literally limping out there towards the end of his career. He could still sling it, but physically he was not that big player. Even Big Ben is not the same physical player he used to be.
Bro.
But from a skill standpoint and decision making, Carson Wentz literally looks like the worst quarterback in the
Yeah, he
NFL.
does. I don't know, man. Like to be so good and to now be so bad. And what I want people like the Dick Velasquez of the world, it amazes me that we make excuses for some, but not for others. So they want to tell you all about injuries with the Eagles. That's just the reason they're bad. But then they don't want to tell you that the team that I root for has had 4 different starting quarterbacks, has had 8 different offensive. No. I think they're up to 10 different offensive line coaches in 13 weeks. But nobody wants to talk about that. We want to keep giving this guy Carson Wentz excuse after excuse after excuse, and he's not good. He's
Yeah,
not. And
something clearly happened with him that from a progression standpoint. And Dwayne, I honestly to answer that question that them guys have up on the network is they do need to bench him. They do need to bench him.
here's the scary part about it. I think if you ask the Philadelphia Eagles owner Jerry Lurie to pick between keeping Carson Wentz or getting rid of Doug Peterson, I think he's going to get rid of Doug Peterson before he allows Carson Wentz to be benched because the owner loves the kid. Just
And the money and then the money aspect.
then the money aspect of it. And so there's rumors coming out of Philadelphia that he's frustrated. He's frustrated with the whole situation. But we're gonna get to that game. But we're gonna start.
Let me ask you a question. One of our guys that's a Philadelphia fan once told me, they said you gotta understand that remember where he's from, that the big city is getting to him.
Could
And
be.
I didn't think about it like that. And he said it about a year ago. My boy Harold. He said, "Yo, the big city is getting to him. Yo, he can't
Could be.
handle the big city." And that's something that's interesting because it might be, you the talk and toast of the town. You get hurt, and they build a statue for your backup.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. And then they draft with the number 2 pick. They draft a quarterback
Yeah,
right behind you. So um, it's going to be interesting. Do you want to just go into that? Well, we'll go into that. That's a 425. So we'll start with the 405, the second 405 game, which is the Colt McCoy led New York Giants going in and facing, and I'm gonna call him Russell Wilson today because I've been messing around calling him little future stepdaddy, but I got a little upset with one of the guys at the Four Letter Network because he referred to Russell Wilson, a Super Bowl winning quarterback, 2-time Super Bowl participant, and he referred to that man as Sierra's husband. So I can't come on here and continue to disrespect calling him little future stepdaddy. You know, um, the line is 10.5. I'm gonna go with the New York. No, I'm not. I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks. I would love to see the Giants win. I'm actually rooting for the Giants today because I want them to take control of this division. But football, my mind tells me the Seahawks, and the Seahawks pretty big today.
well, that game because it's played where it's at. 13 ain't on the 13 is not there. But I'm gonna take Seattle. But if I was a guy that was into FanDuel, which is interesting because me and you, we probably if we didn't have any vices in our life, I would say that gambling has been our vices. But we've probably never bet on football. I've never bet FanDuel. I don't even understand FanDuel and all that stuff, which is interesting.
I gotta
Um,
be honest with you, man. Like I've had my addictions, and I've been honest about this. I've had my addictions with gambling, but it was never football. I'm sorry, I don't get the plus 200 minus 300.
Yeah.
I don't get that. My addiction was with the ponies. Like, I love gambling horses. I just love it. Thoroughbred horses.
Yeah.
That was my addiction. I've conquered it. Praise be to God for helping me conquer that addiction. So when people ask me about NFL and they're like, D, you're so knowledgeable, I can't help you with gambling
Yeah. It's
like
just,
that because I don't get it. I don't understand it. I understand point spreads. I understand the over under. But when you talking about plus 300, minus 550, that's not in Dwayne Marshall's wheelhouse. You know.
this is this is the game that I'm gonna say that Seattle is either gonna blow them out or the Giants is gonna upset them because Russell Wilson had an un MVP like game.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, and you know how I feel about the receiver, and anybody that knows me, Dwayne knows. It's not Metcalf on Seattle that gets me. I'm telling y'all, he may not be a Hall of Famer, but every time you watch a game, Lockett is showing up. I'm telling you.
Most underrated wide receiver in the NFL. Everybody wants to keep talking about DK Metcalf, and all Lockett do is make plays, stays under the radar, and does what he does. He's not.
Him and him and Russell got this unspoken language. I'm telling you, if you ever watch a play breakdown and Russell starts scrambling, watch you catch the pass.
Mm-hmm.
Watch you catch the pass. It's gonna be Lockett. So I have to pick them because I just don't think that. I think this is the wrong team for the Giants to be playing on the road right now. I do believe that the Giants, when you factor in everything, Colt McCoy is a seasoned veteran. He's not going to turn the ball over. But when you factor in everything, I do think the Giants right now, with everything considered, health wise, might be the best team in the NFC East, but might not be the team that wins the division, unfortunately. And it happens that way. Strength of schedule, going down the stretch is going to be important. And so I'm gonna definitely pick Seattle. I just think that Seattle has to get back, as they say in NFL circles, get back on schedule.
Right. The 425 National Game of the Week on CBS, Tony Romo and Jim Nantz. You have Carson Wentz and the Eagles going into Lambeau Field to face Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. I like the Packers. The line is 8, I think 8.5 last I saw. Yes, the line is 8.5. I think the line should be 21.5. I think this one is going to get ugly. I think it's going to get ugly early and often. And my call out in this game is you will see Jalen Hurts get major quarterback action in the second half of this game. Jalen Hurts will get real quarterback action. Not no gimmicky coming in with Carson Wentz spread out at wide receiver, wildcat thing. No. Jalen Hurts will get real quarterback action in the second quarter of this game.
One of the things
second half, I'm sorry.
One of the things about this game that's crazy is the Eagles got exposed last week by 2 receivers. Sometimes your coach will talk you into some shit you can't handle, and they went up against Seattle, and that budding star Metcalf really kind of like exposed Slay to the rest of the league, because one thing that people didn't realize is Slay was an above average corner who really didn't get a lot of throws to his way, because in football, at the end of the day, what most teams do, they're never going to go at your best player on defense. That doesn't mean your best player is one of the best players in the league. And the Eagles corners with Darby, they're going to have their work cut out today messing with that bad man and the way he throws the football. I think that Green Bay, what they're going to try to do is shore up their running defense, which has been a little crazy. But when Carson Wentz goes back to pass, the way he holds the ball and the way the Smith brothers get after it, I'm with Dwayne. I won't be. Dwayne says second half, but I think Dwayne is being generous. I won't be surprised if we see Jalen Hurts in the second quarter.
Okay.
Because it matchups and styles just don't fit the Eagles this game. The Eagles don't run the ball. You got it. The best way to beat Aaron Rodgers is to have weapons to match with him or to keep him on the sideline, and the Eagles just don't have it this year.
Yeah, like you said, man, and you know what the old saying goes is styles make fights, right? Ask my man Danny Garcia and ask him how his eye is feeling. How his eye is feeling this morning because he just stayed at the end of that Earl Spence Jr. jab last night. Jab, jab, jab. He just stayed at the end of that jab, and his eye looked a bloody mess. Styles make fights. The Eagles and Carson Wentz will be a bloody mess. 3 more turnovers from Carson Wentz today. 3 more, which will take him to 22 on the season. 22 turnovers. That's what we're going to see. All right. Now, I have a question for you. All right. We know we got a crazy schedule. Let me get to this last 4 o'clock game that I'll spend 2 seconds on. Patriots over Chargers. That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't. We're not even going to waste our time with that game. But I will say this. Yeah, Patriots over Chargers. That's it.
My question to you. Will we have time tonight and our Week 13 recap show to go over the other 4 games, or do we do it now?
Let's do it now.
Okay. So Sunday Night Football, the Broncos versus the Chiefs, and I'll send a half a second on Chiefs big.
What's the next game? Because I don't need to say anything. Ditto.
All right. So we got 2 Monday Night Football games this week. Okay. The first one being a 5 o'clock game. You'll have the Washington Football Team in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh right now is a 1.5 favorite. Washington Football Team loses a close one. And here's why. That pass rush is going to get to Ben Roethlisberger. If you notice what the Steelers are doing this year with Big Ben, everything is quick. Everything is quick. Everything is quick out of his hands. Believe it or not, if you look at it statistically, okay, the Washington Football Team secondary is top 5 in the National Football League. And that front 7 gets after you, okay? I'm not saying that the Washington Football Team is going to beat Pittsburgh, but I am saying we are going to have a game on our hands come around 7:30 on Monday night.
Well, this is where I throw on my life jacket. This is where I jump out the window from the 3rd floor and jump on that old mattress. And I thought it's a mattress, but it might be a box spring. The Washington Football Team wins.
Okay. And if they win this one, they just
Big Ben showed up on the injury report. Nobody knows why. They win because of Riverboat. Dwayne pointed out when you have a great front 7, let's just say a great front 7, your back end is going to be at minimum very good and get turnovers. Ben hasn't thrown a lot of turnovers. I've watched the Steelers about 4 times this year, and even though the Steelers are undefeated, the Steelers play to their opponent, the talent of their opponent. I think the loss of Bud Dupree is huge loss. I mean, I don't know the other side; they got a great one, but it's hard to keep getting injured in the front 7 and having guys step up. And one thing that Washington Football Team does is they are great at exploiting matchups. Scott Turner has learned from the master, man. Norv, his father.
Norv.
So I think that Washington outright beats the Steelers. And I know that a lot of Steelers fans are going to be mad. But I really think the Steelers need this loss. The Steelers, in a lot of people's eyes, have not passed the eye test. I'm not going to say that. I'll just say when we do playoffs in the few coming weeks, we'll talk about them in the playoffs. But this is the week. The Washington Football Team upsets the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers.
I'll tell you who just passed the eye test. Lord have mercy. Cynthia Freeland on it. Allow me to be a man. I'm sorry. Lord, Cynthia Freeland. That's Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you. All right. So the other Monday night game, it's kind of intriguing to me. The Buffalo Bills go to Arizona. Let's remember, they got to go to Arizona because the San Francisco 49ers cannot play in their home stadium. So this game will be in Arizona, courtesy of the Cardinals. And Buffalo's 8-3, man. They're 8-3, folks. They're gonna win the AFC East like me and this fine gentleman kind of predicted. I said Dolphins. He said
Brother Walker's team is the Buffalo.
Brother Walker
His
loves
budding team.
Josh Allen's playing well. They play great defense, and I will argue with anyone. My esteemed producer, brother, leader, Quentin Ford. I will argue with anyone.
There you go.
The best wide receiver in the NFL in 20 plays in Buffalo, New York. His name is Stephon Diggs, man. He's been the greatest pickup. He's been the best wide receiver. I'll take all the smoke. I'll take all the arguments. I ain't ducking nobody.
It's funny. It's funny.
Receiver in this league.
It's funny because when you look at free agency in the NFL, there has really never been a great free agency since the 93 season, a great free agent that went to a team. I can name probably, Peyton Manning. That's a little different. He was coming off the neck injury. Darren Sproles was a great free agent pickup when the Saints got him. But one of the big free agent pickups that Dwayne is speaking about with not free agent pickup. One of the big pickups that Stephon Diggs was that trade because nobody understands where it went sour in Minnesota. And for Buffalo to say to themselves, we have a young quarterback, let's bring in a receiver in. It's very hard when you bring a receiver in with a young quarterback. What happened, Dwayne?
I'm heartbroken right now. Jane Slater has cheated on us. She's in Tennessee. She ain't supposed to be in Tennessee. She's our reporter. What are you doing, Jane? I'm going to have to tweet Jane Slater and tell her she just broke my heart. I'm definitely tweeting Jane Slater and telling her she broke my heart. She's in Tennessee right now. She needs to be in Baltimore.
So one of the things that Buffalo did, Buffalo made a decision, and it was crazy at the time. If you look at Buffalo, they fired Rex Ryan after having a couple good seasons. They just thought they needed a new voice, and they brought in Scott. And if you look at what he's done with that team and changed the culture of that team, he has done a hell of a job. So I really respect what Buffalo coaching staff has done. They're getting Josh Norman back, and you can say what you want. Josh Norman had his best years under Scott, messing around in Carolina when he was defensive coordinator. So Buffalo.
Sorry, I'm tweeting Jay Slater. I heard everything my boy said, but right now I am tweeting Jay Slater. This is breaking news. I'm letting this woman know she just broke my heart being at Nissan Stadium in Tennessee. I don't like women that cheat. And right now, Jay Slater cheating on me. As a Dallas Cowboys fan, cheating on me. I know she got to make a living. I know it's holiday, and I know all that. Wow, Jane. Wow. But I like Buffalo. I like Buffalo going at, I like Buffalo going and beating the 49ers. I think that's going to be, again, I think the world is finally going to be able to see Josh Allen, see his growth, see his development. Monday Night Football, Monday Night Lights. And the last game of Week 13, you got the Dallas Cowboys headed to Baltimore to play the Baltimore Ravens. And we don't know right now who's going to suit up for the Ravens still because apparently, which was amazing to me, I don't know if I read it right. It's all confusing to me, but they were saying there were like 3 separate outbreaks. It was the same organization.
It was 3 separate outbreaks, and it was 19 players that were not on their active roster the other day when they lost to the Steelers. So it's a possibility that the Buffalo team, that played the other day is not the same team. We know that the NFL did some things because we believe they want the MVP to have a marquee game against Dallas, so they pushed it back so he could play. But one thing about COVID, if you have had COVID or not, is everybody recovers differently, and definitely when you have, speaking from someone that has AKA lung disease, when anything affects your breathing, it affects your conditioning because even though you could be in great condition, the minute something starts messing with your lungs and you get fluid or a blockage, a mucus buildup, you could be the greatest athlete in the world. You just cannot move because you can't get oxygen to your body quick enough. So I'm one of the things that Dallas, as a Cowboy fan, a lot of people will say that Nolan has the defense playing hard. I'm not a going with that. I just think the defense is so bad that they had no way but to go up. They're not getting blown. You're not basically getting blown assignments, but they're just not that talented. The cornerbacks are still allowing the receivers too much separation on these crossing routes. Jalen Smith is still not following his keys. I mean, so they're gonna look good on certain aspects, definitely with Van Der Esch and Sean Lee playing more. We see a lot of stuff coming out of Juice, Hamilton, Gallimore. They're basically playing according to their definitely Gallimore. He's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to do 4 or 5 plays, but then other than that, you don't see him. Tank Lawrence, um, he's been having some good games, getting a sack here, doing exactly what he's done his whole career. Going to end up probably with 8 or 9 sacks, and um, Alden kind of like hit that proverbial wall. He's like a rookie after not playing 5 years. Um, this game is key because will Baltimore have the guts to throw the ball to Dez Bryant? And he's probably going to be one of the guys that plays. And it's kind of funny because most Cowboy fans love Dez. We always threw up the X, and it's like it's hard for me to pick Baltimore. Though I do not want the Cowboys. I'm a Cowboy fan. I just don't think the Cowboys are better than Baltimore. But it's hard for me to pick Baltimore because of the uncertainty with their roster.
I I'm not gonna go with my heart. Okay? Everybody knows with my heart. You see how big the font is on the hat. The hat, the font is huge. Where's the star? You see the star at the end of it, But I'm not gonna go with my heart today. But would I be surprised if the Dallas Cowboys go into M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore and come out with a win on Tuesday night? No, I wouldn't be surprised. Do I want that? No, I don't want it. And listen, for anybody that want to knock me and say, how can you go against your team? It's rather simple. I want your draft. Okay? I want to be in the 4th draft slot, preferably even the 3 draft slot. We lose to Cincinnati next week. I want your draft. I want to be in the 4th slot. I want somebody that wants to come up for Zach Wilson. And they're gonna swap 1st-round picks with us. They're gonna give us a 2nd rounder and next year's 1. I want your draft. That's what I want as a Cowboy fan. The NFC East is going nowhere. The team that wins the NFC East is gonna have 7 wins, maybe. May only be 6.
I mean, from a football standpoint, Dwayne, I don't think people understand that if the NFC East team wins the division and then does something really crazy and wins that playoff game, you legitimately go from being within the top 10 to being in the early 20s.
19
if you win the division.
If you win the division. If you somehow luck up and win that first playoff game, it's worse. All right? Somebody is going to be bad because all 4 teams stink out loud.
Because a lot of people don't understand is that, and we say it because we're Cowboy fans and we're NFC East fans, is that all 4 teams need to get cheap talent. And what we mean by cheap talent is talent still on rookie contracts. So they all need to get in the top. Outside of the Redskins, who glaringly need a quarterback, and the Giants might be up for discussion.
Right.
Um,
Well, listen, I want to say this to people too, and this is not hate filled, but I was watching something on TV this week. Colin Cowherd, him and Joy Taylor, they went on and on and on about Daniel Jones. Okay, do you guys realize Daniel Jones has only beaten 3 organizations in his NFL career? He's undefeated against the Washington football team. He's beating the Eagles once, and he beat the Bengals last week. That's it, folks.
mm,
Come on, man.
that's
Trust your
interesting.
eyes. Trust your eyes.
That's interesting. So Dwayne, I can't pick. I can't pick. I can't pick the Baltimore game.
I
I
know we
can't.
went long, brother. I know we went long. We're an hour in, but I'm enjoying this.
No, I can't. I can't pick the Baltimore. I can't pick the Baltimore Cowboy game, Dwayne.
No, you can and you will. You can and you will. I can't pick the. There it is.
Well, I'm gonna assume that everything will be healthy. I'm gonna pick Baltimore.
Cheers.
I'm pick Baltimore. But I'm gonna ask you about something, and I'm gonna just give our audience some pre-draft stuff. I want to ask you a question. The Bengals have the 3rd pick. Usually, when you build a team, you can get your quarterback, and then you go get your left tackle. The left tackle's there, the kid from Oregon. But then Joe Burrow goes to the organization and said, "Get my boy Jamar Chase." Do they go get Jamar Chase and have him and Huggins with the future?
No, they're so bad on the offensive line, and the way Burrow got beat up this year. If the Cincinnati Bengals is at 3, what do you get? 15 minutes in the first round. They should take them 15 seconds. They got to run up and take the tackle. Now, everyone knows I'm Team Tank. I'm Team Tank. Everybody knows that. I want to trade down. I want your draft. I want to come out of this draft with 2 quality cornerbacks for the Dallas Cowboys. If somehow the Cowboys lose to the Bengals and the Cowboys is in the 3 hole, listen to me very carefully. I'm taking the tackle out of Oregon. Even though I know this draft should be completely defensive for us. But you get the healthy line back, and you get this kid from Oregon, and you convince Tyron Smith his time is over in the NFL, and away we go. I love the kid from Oregon.
Dwayne, since you gave the fans a little bonus on your assessment on the draft, I have to rebut that. A short rebuttal, please.
Of course, as you must.
Because he restructured his deal, you say to Tyron, he's going to be your heir apparent. Now you kick Connor Williams to a swing guard, swing tackle, and you put the big boy from Oregon next to Tyron until Tyron hangs it up.
Could do it, man. That would be a crazy offensive line. But again, that's best case. I'm sweating. I got a jacket on. I don't need it, but I'll show y'all what I'm wearing. It's the Union Rams.
So I'm gonna ask you a question, Dwayne.
The Union Rams football. That's it. We love them.
Dwayne. So it's a unique situation the Cowboys in, and we're not gonna make this about the Cowboys, but we're just gonna say this.
Whatever we want. This is a good show. Unfortunately, we haven't been getting a lot of interaction, except for the lovely Miss Dozier. She always got our back.
Let me ask you a question. Excuse me.
I'm boring you, man. I'm sorry.
No. It's two positions that would put Dallas in, which would be crazy in this draft. And we can't finish with the number 1 pick. If the Jets don't draft Trevor Lawrence, it would shake the whole draft board. Number 1, and number 2, we can't finish 3.
Listen, it's blasphemy. Okay, the Dallas Cowboys. Breaking news: Breaking news alert. Breaking news alert. If the Dallas Cowboys don't re-sign Ryan Dakota Prescott, I will stop being a Dallas Cowboy fan.
With that, folks, we're gonna close the show. Everybody have a great day,
I'm
and
lying.
and remember Dwayne's favorite statement:
I'm lying. Happy
faith,
holiday.
family, and football.
Faith,
Y'all have a
family, and
great
football.
day, and we'll see you tonight, hopefully.
Yes, I'm off to Home Depot to get a lighted wreath. Ho, ho, ho. Happy holidays.